All right, guys, we got to talk about what's going on with the real estate market. If you guys think the real estate market is good because there's reports of prices going up, well, just you wait because prices are coming back down super duper fast. And we're seeing many sellers facing really odd conditions. Conditions where people are negotiating like crazy. Conditions where even if they sell it for like 10% off, there's not a single buyer in sight because the 30-year mortgage is heading towards 8% and above, and the 15-year mortgage isn't far behind. So many people just don't want to be suckers and buy into this real estate market. And usually when interest rates are normal or low, people tend to sell off a house and then use the proceeds and the gains to take out loans for 2 to 3 houses. That's how investing works, right? You just take out massive amounts of debt and you just get more properties. But because rates are so high, there's not a single person doing it. So the share of home sellers offering price declines reaches record level in October, and this is being talked about by Redfin. So if you look at what's going on, 6.9% of all the homes for sale in the US posted a price drop during the 4 weeks ended in October 29th. And Redfin is saying that this is the highest share since it began tracking the market. When Redfin says that this is the first time they've seen this many price cuts, then you should probably believe that we're going to be facing one of the biggest real estate crises ever. This frenzy in the real estate market is very similar to the one in 2008. And if you look at the high interest rate market, and also unemployment just shot up to 3.9%. In the beginning of the year, unemployment was 3.3, 3.4. Now unemployment is sky high. So you have a bunch of people not having jobs, and what's really scary is high paying jobs, like jobs above $80,000, are extremely rare and very difficult to get. And many people who are making six figs, like for example, actuaries, right? Or high-end software engineers. A lot of these guys are being laid off like crazy. And for them to find another job in the same pay grade is very difficult. And especially what Redfin is saying, this is such a messed up market that almost 7% of all the home sales are getting price cuts. And this is huge, right? And people are just really freaked out about this market. A lot of people who thought about spending like 300 grand on a down payment, 30% down for a home, are now considering perhaps putting that money into CDs or treasuries. And really wealthy people who could buy like $2-3 million condos and houses, they have a lot of cash on hand. So they think, okay, maybe it's time to us to buy another vacation home. They see the interest rates, they freak out. And now you have rich people putting 1 to 2 million USD into like CDs. Charles Schwab is offering 5.65% a year in return for their CDs, 12 months. It is such a great deal. Some banks are even doing 10 months for like a little over 5%. So what I'm getting at is people who initially wanted to do real estate investing to make positive cash flow are now being turned off, because why would you risk all that money in a home when selling is hard, the mortgages are high, and trying to find a renter is hard, when you could easily just put it in like a CD, for example, like Schwab's 5.65%, and just make risk-free money, right? Sit out the storm this time, get some free money every month, and then after a year when the markets recover and rates are going down, then you take the money out from Schwab. You already made almost 6% risk-free, and then you start investing in the market. And by that time, the real estate market probably is so busted up, you could probably buy a home for an even lower price. And that's the game plan for a lot of people. And even Redfin, for their own earnings, is experiencing a 12% dip in quarter 3. You know, this is a slowing housing market, guys. And it's not just about the residential real estate that's scary. The office department is even scarier. If you guys think housing, condos, townhouses, suburban homes are going down in price, just wait till you see some of the big US cities like San Francisco. You can't even sell an office building if you don't do a 50% off. Same exact thing is happening to Seattle. Many of these places are renting for dirt cheap prices. These offices and malls and retail centers, not a single person wants these buildings. Nobody wants these buildings at all. And look at this, and some of these units are literally renting for just a few bucks per square feet per year, whereas in the old days, they were going for a lot of money. And if you look at the Bay Area, it's some of the scariest stuff because you got some really famous and high-end buildings like NEMA in Market Street. It's literally right next to X or Twitter. If you look at NEMA, you're like, no way they can't rent this out. But apparently the value of the building went from a little over $500 million in 2018, 2019. Now there's a hedge fund bank that just reevaluated the building's price. They said that this building is only worth $279 million. So a little over a 50% loss for a building, which all it really did was give out pretty good units to high paying clients. It just shows you that when buildings like these get a 50% price drop, it really makes you wonder, what about the tower right next door? Are the condos selling here for like $1 million a pop, not worth $1 million? Maybe they're only worth $500,000. And this is what's happening in the real estate market here. And then you also get towards like the Airbnb guys. So let's shift away from people who just bought a couple of homes to rent out, or homes at the top, or people who buy commercial real estate. Now look at the people who went to Airbnb and Vrbo, because there's so many people during the pandemic that took out loans and bought a bunch of Airbnb properties. And when you have that kind of buying being exacerbated by 0% interest rates, and also everyone's watching everyone else making a bunch of money on Airbnbs, they start getting in. Well, there you have it. Phoenix, Airbnb, and Vrbo managers were shocked that 50% of their homes stayed empty over Super Bowl weekend. So the big banks could actually wait this storm out, right? They have money and they could afford to have a few units not being rented out. But the people who initially refinanced their home or sold some property or whatever, and now they have like 3 Airbnb properties, rates are super duper high. They're paying a lot in just interest rates, and now nobody's renting from the units. It's some scary stuff, which is kind of very similar to like big American cities like Los Angeles, Seattle, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose. If you just go to any city, even Miami, you could actually see some of the biggest and fattest price cuts you'll ever seen. And every once in a while, you always get like big price cuts, like over $200. Now it's $186. $400. Oh, we could do $350. So big price cuts happening everywhere. And just from like personal testimonies from these Airbnb landlords, they're even saying that out of 30 nights, they're only renting less than a week. Whereas back in the old days, 90 to 95% of the nights were easily filled out, and people were scrambling trying to get Airbnb units like crazy. Now it's a very cool market, even in high-end areas like Las Vegas, New York City, Miami. Places where traditionally Airbnb at first made a lot of money are now facing huge declines. So Redfin, they're like, yeah, everyone's losing money. There's record amounts of price cuts. And here's the thing, despite having crazy high price cuts, there's not even that many people buying homes. In fact, the amount of people registering for mortgages is as low as 1995. So that's almost 3-decade low for the amount of people taking out mortgages. So is there a lot of people buying homes? Absolutely not. And we could finally be seeing this market cooling off. And what's really scary is we could be seeing a pretty freaky recession as well, because unemployment is up. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment below, subscribe, like, and comment for more.